Hello everyone, and guys doing hopefully you're having a wonderful Monday. We are back again with another Fanatics Weekly Review, as we tend to do here, where I go through the top 100 soccer items sold on their platform. This week, as always, if you enjoy these, do make sure to leave a like. Helps me, helps the channel, all that fun stuff. But let's go ahead and get rolling. About 2,300 to get into this weekly, so, a little lower than some of the other weeks, which I guess is nice. Starting with some of the prospects, or, I guess, I don't know what Mbappe is at this point, but nonetheless, Lamine Yamal out of 299 autos here to start. Got a couple of them there, basically the same price in total. Got a Kaboom Kylian Mbappe for $23.40 and a BGS 95 from 2021. Above it, we have a Manga Neymar, which, what are we gonna say about him? There will be crazier ones later. There's a Lamine Yamal that's super expensive, and I've kind of already given my feelings on the whole situation, but interesting to see nonetheless. Only 27 watchers, also a little interesting, but hey. Next to it, David Beckham Merlin's Gold PSA 10. Tougher 1 in a 10. It is one of the more common cards from the 90s that gets graded though, so ultimately pops are still going to be relatively high, I guess, compared to most things. In terms of price point, $2,600 on this one, as you can tell. I mean, you could have got this under $1,000 last year. 10 went for $900 on eBay. And way back in the day, I think there was a sale for like 12 grand in 2021 when things were just off the rails, especially on stuff like this. But doing pretty good in total. I mean, up nearly 200% from just a couple of years ago, or just a year ago, really. Next to it, a National VIP Color Blast. Lionel Messi, of course, National is going to weigh it down. But hey, it doesn't, compared to some of the Color Blasts we'll see later, maybe you could make a case for it. Lamine Yamal 9.5, CGC graded there. That's going to sell a little less than a PSA 9, but it is only Mint Plus. It's not a Gem Mint 9.5, which you sometimes see in CGC because that was the old grading scale, and now Gem Mint's a 10, so worth noting. Next to it, Topps Chrome Black Anime Erling Haaland. I think we saw one of these go recently. Maybe it wasn't the same parallel or same cert, whatnot, but still feels like a pretty good price for a PSA 8, especially of an insert that sort of just came about. 2024 Premier League Color Blast David Beckham, as we've mentioned before. The Premier League Color Blast seemed to be shorter print, and I would hope so. Still pop 1 to 9, so they're not totally not available, but they are out there to some degree. Lamine Yamal Finest 2023 auto for $2,800. We have a 1/1 patch from Erling Haaland and Obsidian going for $28.80, and finally a Cristiano Ronaldo out of 65 PSA 10. That went for $28.80 as well. I looked that one up because I was interested and just seemed like something that would comp at least a little bit. As you can tell, about last year during different times, 2024, 1,200, 1,600, peaked at 3,000, a little bit lower here. I guess not an all-time high sale, but pretty close considering the all-time high sale was just a bit higher in May. PSA 5 gives that to Pele, goes for $2,800. Over a long term, I would have to imagine these have done not the best. For a pretty low pop, just 1 of 4 too higher, at being at $2,800. Definitely during the boom back in the day, I can imagine those were a lot higher. Generally, Pele was as well, but this is also one that probably had a lot more excitement in 2021 than it does now. Still 60 watchers, which is fairly impressive, I think, for the for what it is, which is a cutout of a vinyl album, really. Next to it, a couple of Lamine Yamals. Take your pick: Finest Auto or PSA 9 Mega Cracks. I take the auto, given the option, although in this situation, the auto does have a few less watchers, so, interesting. A couple more of the abysses. If the first one was not enough, you could have stacked up on 3 of them for about 10 grand in total, but hey. Topps Dynasty, Zinedine Zidane and R9 goes for $3,200 there out of 10. First year Topps Dynasty as well. If that turns out to be a real thing, I could see cards like this being a fun ad. Granted, $3,200's not chump change, but it's the price of a Lamine Yamal Mega Crack, so, is it that crazy? I don't know. Lionel Messi Equalizers Gold PSA 10, $3,200 here. Feels pretty good. It is a 10, and it is gold, but it's also, a modern insert out of Select, so not most people's favorite, but hey. 2023 Topps Chrome Aqua Refractor out of 199. Lamine Yamal on a PSA 9 with an auto, of course, $32.40. A Premier League Color Blast Erling Haaland PSA 10 for $33.60. David Beckham in 10, $27.60. Erling Haaland in a 10, $33.60. Yeah, I'd pay another 20% for a modern player, and when it's all said and done, I would imagine Haaland's probably going to have a better resume than Beckham, so it seems like a easy choice to me. It is pop 1 of 13, so a little more available, I guess, but what are you going to do? Lamine Yamal Stadium Club Black Refractor out of 10, $33.60 there. Seems like kind of a fun one in a world where Lamine Yamal is expensive on everything. A black members only Stadium Club Chrome. Looks pretty cool. PSA 6 Cristiano Ronaldo Portugal sticker rookie next to it goes for $3,500. This was a pretty good sale, I would say. Seemed like it ticked up a little bit. Last sale was $2,200 on eBay. Before that, $2,500, $3,000. Didn't really hit above that during this latest boom. So at least relatively, this is an all-time high. I guess if you go back, there are some sales at $3,500 at certain points. I don't know what it hit in 2021. Yeah, you got a sale for, doesn't look like it ever really got there. So 3,500 seems to be the all-time high, and this is basically right there with an auction. So that seems like a pretty good result, I would say. Lionel Messi Renaissance PSA 10 here from 2024-2025 Merlin. Feels pricey. Because just generally, I don't feel like I've seen a lot of Renaissance in these auctions. Now, granted, it's Barca kit, and I'm guessing people like that, but depends how you feel about what year it was and what it's displaying. 2019 Topps Chrome Blue Wave Refractor Erling Haaland in a 10 goes for $3,600, along with Cristiano Ronaldo Revolution Auto for $3,600 as well. It could be because it's a 10. It also might be because Ronaldo's not really signing much at this point. Who knows if that changes? Probably will, you'd assume, but who knows. 2020 sticker auto, though, from a set people don't generally like. Seems like a decent price. Alternatively, Lamine Yamal auto, so you could have a Ronaldo or a Lamine Yamal. Of course, the Lamine Yamal is a rookie, which matters, and that's the only reason it can compete, really. But I actually, at this point, Lamine Yamal could probably compete price-wise no matter what. So what are you going to do? 2022 Cristiano Ronaldo Prism PSA 10 for $3,600, along with a SP Authentic PSA 10 for $3,700. Take your pick between those two. Prism with a little bit more watchers. Personally, I probably lean Prism just because SP Authentic seemed fairly plentiful, but at the same time, clearly much earlier in his career, so if you like that. 2024 Topps Chrome Club and Country Ousmane Dembele. Interesting there. I haven't seen a lot of these, so I don't know if, you can't really plan it. I don't know how they do it. If the border's club and then behind it's country, I don't know. I guess behind it looks like country, but the country and the club both basically have the same colors here, so it kind of works out. But fun one if you are into Ousmane Dembele, if you like that type of stuff. If you like Ballon d'Or winners, I don't know. Do people like Ballon d'Or winners? Is that what they want? I don't know. 2017 Kylian Mbappe Blue Refractor out of 150 and a 9 goes for $3,800. Looked this up because it's going to be comparable and somewhat interesting, I guess. $3,200 in sales prior, so kind of a jump here despite being basically the same timing. If we go back a little further, $2,000 at certain points for kind of a while, to be honest. And then way back in the day, a little bit higher, $6,000 at one point. So not an all-time high, but definitely fought its way back, up 100% from the lows. Erling Haaland 2019 Topps Museum out of 25 patch auto for $3,800. Authentic card grade, auto 10. I guess it's nice that there's a 10 on there, but authentic card grade certainly can't help a whole lot. 2004 PSA 8.5, number 35, Messi, Mega Cracks goes for $3,800. Above it, a Pele signed Gazzetta with Garrincha as well. This is what I was referencing before, how it's a vinyl album cutout, and so you can have Pele, you could have Pele and Garrincha. I think Zagallo's maybe to Pele's left. I don't really remember it necessarily, but you can almost cut it in any amount you want. So interesting here. Obviously, it does have a Pele auto. Looks a little shaky, but it actually doesn't look terrible. Placement's probably nearly ideal. I don't know where else you'd really want it. So I could see some things going for it. I think 3,800's certainly strong, given generally where they've been, but it does seem like Pele autos are doing well. A weird position for me to be in because if you guys watched the video from about a year ago, I sold some of my Messis. I bought Pele autos and Pele rookies and stuff like that. And so, people say, well, you're just saying that they're doing good because you own them. You can look up comps. They're doing pretty good. I just think, Pele did sign some at the end of his career in terms of cardboard. He also is a prolific signer throughout his career, but sign cards is a little bit harder, especially with playing day stuff. So, I think that's why it's doing well. It never really made sense to me. When you look at all the Lamine Yamals itself for what they do, for Pele to sell near it. This is a Pele signed rookie. Now, granted, I've already talked about how I don't really like this rookie. I really don't like Pele shaky autos either. So there's definitely some counterpoints. But how many Lamine Yamal cards do you see in this auction that are around this price? So from one perspective, I get it. From another one, I could see people talking it down. I think 3,800 strong, but that's sort of been the way it's seeming to be, without my bias, of course. But hey. Next to it, red chrome, Cristiano Ronaldo in a 910 grade. Kind of like this, if you're a red chrome person. Now, granted, we talked about the Cristiano Ronaldo auto, so do you like that or not? I don't know. 39.60 there doesn't seem like a crazy price. Next to it, you could have had a Kylian Mbappe. Now, granted, much cooler card in the sense that it's on card. It's National Treasures. It lines up with the World Cup that he did good in, so I could see those. But, Ronaldo, red chrome auto versus Kylian Mbappe, National Treasures gold. Interesting nonetheless, nearly the same amount of watches as well, which is also interesting. Select peacock here of a future. It's not future stars, I guess, just future. 2023 Lamine Yamal rookie goes for $39.60. Messi Ronaldo signed sticker in between, 4K there. I think the sticker raw is probably like $20, but you throw a couple autos on it, it's 4K, and kind of makes sense at the same time. Assuming BGS's autograph authentication is up to par. 2024 Panini Noir Color Gold, okay. Out of 5. A lot going on here. Not really quite sure, but it is a sticker auto. Granted, it's Noir also, which people kind of view as a premium set, but when you start putting stickers on it, it kind of loses it. 4K there, though. Still seems like a respectable price, but nothing crazy. Next to it, you have 2 in-person autos, so it seems fairly comparable. Above it, 2019 Finest Erling Haaland auto here. Pop a 1 of 10. I was going to say these do seem at least pretty rare to my eye. 4,200 there, if that's your thing. Next to it, red chrome PSA 1010 for the Thomas Muller autograph there. Pop 1 of 1. Goes for 4,200. Tried to look up comps, and there's really not going to be a ton of great ones. Really, it's just raw reds for 1,200, a PSA 9 for 1,700, a PSA 9 for 1,200, and then a 1010. Well, actually, just a 10. But how does the auto look? It looks pretty good, so that's probably a 10 auto. Granted, it's not on there, but it last sold for 1,500. So how much of that is because it has a 10 auto? How much of that is appreciation? I'd probably say half and half, and move on my way. 2024 Donruss FIFA Kaboom, Cristiano Ronaldo, 4,200 there. Kaboom's going crazy. We know the deal. PSA 8 Messi essay for 4,300. I don't know if I closed this one. I think I did because I looked it up and it was a fairly simple sort of lookup. Yeah, it peaked at around $6,000 back in September of last year when Messi was running a bit more. Before that, 6 months before that, it was probably 1,500-ish. So it's closer to $6,000 than 1,500, doing good overall, but kind of retraced a bit, which generally seems true for, Messi stuff in sort of this high grade area. Next to it, take your pick. 2 PSA 10 purple chromes, Messi or Mbappe. Mbappe with more watchers, Messi with a smidge higher price. If I had to take my pick, it's hard not to say Messi, really. If I could have Messi versus anyone in any set, it's almost always right to take Messi. But at the same time, it is Kylian Mbappe's rookie. And, that has a massive weight. So interesting to see those two so close. I'm sure Ronaldo probably would have done, a good percentage discount to these two, which is also interesting. Alternatively, above it, out of 199, PSA 9 Blue Prism from 2018, Kylian Mbappe going for 4,400. Didn't look that one up just because we've seen some Mbappes. Generally, they look like they've done well, but not like ridiculously well like some players. Next to it, Neymar Messi booklet auto there for 4,500. And then finally, a BGS 10 Black Label Erling Haaland goes for 4,680. Like the look of the black label on that black Obsidian Color Blast. It's a kind of nice match, but I don't think I haven't ever owned a BGS black label, so not really my thing, but maybe it's yours. On to the first page, here we go. A black laser auto of Lamine Yamal in a 10 for 4,800. Panini Copa America Green Lionel Messi out of 5 and a 9 for nearly 5K, which, it's just the story of greens, really. They don't get quite the appreciation a gold does. A gold Prism Messi and a 9 from Copa America. I don't know what it would do, but I have to imagine multiple or 2 of this at the very least. But that's sort of the state of being green. 2018 NT Colossal Patch, Cristiano Ronaldo in a 10 grade for the autograph, a authentic grade for the card, which is probably fair. Those thick cards never grade well, so I can imagine why people wouldn't want to grade that. 5,040. Row above it, definitely an interesting one. So we start with a stained glass from 2020. This goes for 5,160. Didn't look up comps on this, which feels unfair. I probably should have, but if I had to guess, I would imagine they're doing pretty good. I've heard of, a couple different people sort of talking them up in the case hit game. When stuff like Kabooms run the way they have, naturally people are going to be like, oh, what's up? What else is there? What else can I maybe flip or, collect as a fun case hit? And so stained glass has sort of taken that mantle to some degree. I'm guessing that's why Renaissance has also had a little bit of a renaissance itself. And SGC 10 here goes for 5160. I'd imagine they're up a good bit. I mean, Messi's up, stained glass seem to be up, so probably doing pretty good. Noir Spotlight Signatures Zlatan out of 15 going for 5200. Pretty impressive number, at least to my eyes, but granted, when you look back at 2016 Spotlights, I mean, some of those can be gotten for attainable numbers, or at least, below this ballpark. I'm thinking of like a Neymar out of 25. I thought that those used to be maybe $3,000, maybe more. Same thing with like Iniesta. I think he's in there as well. You can get those. I mean, Gareth Bale for like $2,000 to $3,000. So a Zlatan from a later Noir set, kind of tough. But at the same time, Zlatan didn't sign a lot. And so this is probably one of his few like super high-end cards. So from that perspective, I could sort of understand it. It does seem high though for a Zlatan out of 15, but people like the spotlights. 2004 BGS 9.5 of the Messi number 62. I mean, if you like the width of it, I always say on these early BGS certs, be careful, make sure they're totally there. They're not missing edges, or because that type of stuff, happened back in the day. They weren't very good at it. Some would say they still aren't, but they're better, hopefully. But a 9.5 for 5,400. I mean, we just saw an 8.5. Granted, it was the blue Mega Cracks, but that's sold for like 3,500 4K. So, you pay a little premium over it for a 9.5. Doesn't seem bad to me. It does its Campione, kind of looks like it is, but I'm not going to go any further on that. BGS 9.5 Kylian Mbappe, blue, Gem Mint goes for 5,400. We saw the PSA 9 do, like 3,800 or something, so a little bit of a premium here, but not a ton, which is sort of the state of BGS 9.5s. PSA 10, Christian Pulisic Gold, his rookie auto out of 10 goes for 5,600. I talk down everything else. Should I talk him down? Should I talk... What can I say? People like Pulisic. He's American. There's a lot of Americans buying cards. You get the idea. I sort of get it. I think we saw a 9 last week do like 3.5K. So a 10 at 5.5 comparatively doesn't seem crazy, but at the same time, when you could get Mbappe or Maldini rookies in good grade and good versions, or Christian Pulisic that's rarer, I guess. I'd probably tend towards the Maldini. Speaking of Maldini, though, it was a pretty big jump. Now, granted, they don't sell a lot. Last time a 2.5 sold for 8.10, and same copy now goes for 5,600. This makes me think that Baggio that sold last week, I think it was a bit cheap. That was an SGC 3. I think it did $3,500, something like that. Now, I know it's SGC. People don't love SGC, and it was like an old SGC slab, which people don't even like anywhere near as much. So, I get it, but... seeing this Maldini do nearly double makes me think that Baggio was kind of a steal, or maybe this is a high price, but again, at the same time, Maldini Forza goals barely ever sell, maybe once or twice a year at this point, it seems. So, pop one of 1.5 higher, not going to get a lot of opportunities there. This one was crazy to me. I say greens don't get a lot of love, but select field level, people like it. And seemingly even 2017, people like a lot because it's the first year of the horizontal. 2016 was the first year of select field level, but it was vertical. 5,600 here is nuts. I feel like I saw the 1 of 1 on alt go for cheaper within like the last year or two, and I could be totally whiffing on that, but yeah, to see it 8.5 green do this is crazy, but it is pop 1 of 1, none higher, so maybe you take that with you. Jarzinho 1964 Quisho PSA 4 goes for 5,600. Really fun sticker here, and a fun rookie for Jarzinho. Hard to find set as well out of Brazil, and in terms of comps, only other sale we have is a PSA 3 that sold for about $2,000 a couple years ago, so relatively a jump up in price. This is a higher grade, but the colors do appear to be a lot better than this one. So, and the centering as well, and the corners. I mean, kind of looks a lot better, but, how much do you weigh on that? I'm not quite sure. It's always hard to tell. Next to it, Messi Gold Topps Foil from the 2023 season. This out of 50 and a 10 goes for 5,800 on card auto as well. Above it, Lamine Yamal, a Messi as well. Take your pick between the two. You get a gold 2024 top sapphire Lamine Yamal on a 10 for 5,800, or a 2008 PSA 10 Mega Cracks Messi with an NBA silver sticker on there. They didn't put it in the title or description. I guess no one cares. Who knows? Yeah, I mean, people have always liked that 2008 card. The orange kit's very unique. The card itself is very unique. It's like an acetate card with the orange color match sort of text going along it and the stripe as well. It's a fun looking card. Definitely have performed well. I think, a couple years ago it was probably $1,000, $1,500 card maybe, and now we're looking closer to $6,000. Topps Dynasty Mo Salah, big price. Big price. I understand Liverpool collectors are crazy, and Mo Salah just started signing, so like that's going to culminate in this sort of thing. But to me, I seen back in the day when this set originally came out, like Messi's were doing about this price. Now it was Messi and PSG kit, but still. Seeing Salah do Messi prices is pretty nuts. Now, granted, Messi prices have, from my understanding, mooned on this sort of stuff, or at least multipled, so it's not the same realm, but it used to be. Select few gold from 2016 out of 10 and a 9 goes for $6K. Again, feels like a big price, but Messi, to many, he's the GOAT. Right now, he's sort of doing GOAT things. Just scored another 2 today, scored 3 in the first game, so hey, it's looking like a golden boot here. Looking great, so I can understand a little bit of excitement for sure. Next to it, an impeccable master strokes Cristiano Ronaldo. Looks like a sticker auto, but people like impeccable. It's out of 10. It's Man United kit. BGS 8, not great, but it's a thick card, so hey, $6K on that one. Zinedine Zidane foot PSA 6 for $6,600. That was a huge jump, and if we go and look, which we will, I promise you, I'm just using my left hand on the mouse, and this is hard. I don't know why I'm doing it. But last sale was $2,700. Sale before that, $2,800. The $2,700 sale was just in November, so 8 months ago. Before that, $2,100, $2K, $1,500. Back in the day, it peaked at $6K, so we're actually looking at an all-time high sale here, which is pretty nuts, especially considering it I guess it close to doubled, nearly tripled over the last couple of years, which, it's a big-time pre-modern sticker, and as you can tell in this grade, doesn't show up a ton. You probably see a decent grade one of them sell once every couple months, so, I get it. Seems like a lot, but at the same time, I can see it from some perspective. And it's a really nice looking sticker. It's a full size sticker as well, which I think is a huge thing on these foots. Being able to have a sticker that big almost makes it feel like a card, which a lot of people, especially Americans, tend to enjoy a bit more. 2004 Monday Chromo Messi and a PSA 9 for $6,900. Went back and looked at this. Don't know if I kept it up. I did. So, we did have some better comps way back in September when things were roaring, $14K, $9K. But before that, it was a $1,500 to $2,000 card. It, ultimately was lingering around $5K, came back down to $4.5K, and now is up to $7. So, had a massive bump in September of last year, came back down a bit, and now it's seeming to have gone back up again, which, hey, again, Messi's doing great things. I can definitely see it. Griezmann Gold Kaboom, PSA 10 for $6,900. I get it. It's Gold Kaboom. I just, Club World Cup, they don't have the Kaboom foil going on. To me, it's a step down, but at the same time, they do get step down pricing generally compared to, other years. So maybe other years sell for more than this, and I'm just out of the loop, but feel strong. Erling Haaland Topps Museum out of 49 and a PSA 9 goes for $6,900. I'm guessing this gets more of a premium because it's vertical compared to the out of 25 patch earlier, but I like the out of 25. I know it's horizontal, but it had a better patch. It's out of 25. Ruby, I don't know if the card grade was equal or lesser or more. I'm not quite sure, but this feels strong, at least compared to the horizontal sale, but I guess that's sort of the nature of it, right? Lamine Yamal Sapphire, well, it's not Sapphire, actually, it's just Blue Lava, apologies. $7,200 for that, PSA 10, which, out of 75, surely helping. But yeah, just crazy. Kylian Mbappe Gold 2021. This is the first Mbappe autos. We talked about it recently. I don't know if we saw another one of these go, or maybe it was a different one, but first year Mbappe autos, first ever Mbappe autos, if you care about it. I take it over a Lamine Yamal out of 75 rookie, but that's just me. Color Blast 2023 Lamine Yamal, $7,500 there. We'll see some Color Blast here in a second that don't make this seem crazy at all, but granted, I'm sure the Color Blast are different levels of short print depending on what they're in, so ultimately that's going to make a big difference, of course, and I'm guessing Lamine Yamal's rookie, or they were probably printing some more boxes than usual, so hey. Above it, Titulares number 86. Yeah, that's what it is. PSA 2 goes for 7,800. Pretty big sale here. I mean, these have generally held pretty well in PSA 2 grades, but 4,800 on the sale before this, 7,200 before this. Interesting note here, there are variations of this, so this is different than this. As you can tell, there is a star and there's an autograph here that's not his auto. That's facsimiled on there. I think it's like Nilton Santos, or it's someone different. It's not him, which to me is always sort of a deterring factor on this card, especially because it's like all over him. But I do like the titulares in this, sort of vertical hedge. I like them. But this is the most abundant, relatively, of them with the star and the auto. The second most abundant is this one with just the autograph, and then the most rare is the version without the star, without the autograph. My personal favorite for sure, because it's the most rare, and I also just like the look of it the most. I don't know if we'll have any comps here to go ahead and look at. It's not really looking like it, so just use your imagination on that one, but it does exist nonetheless. When we look back, not an all-time high sale. I mean, 15.6K here in 2022. Granted, February of 2022, we had a rougher-looking copy, though, but that went for 4K. So, I mean, ultimately, doesn't seem like a crazy price, kind of in the middle of where they've been throughout time, but, feels relatively strong, I guess, in a world where you're not quite sure where they go. I'd put it up in probably the top 5 of the 58s, maybe top 10 of the total Pele rookie constellation that you're looking at. Next to it, take your pick. 2019 Chrome Gold Refractor, Erling Haaland, UEFA out of 50 in a PSA 10, or a Topps Chrome Marks of Excellence, Lamine Yamal out of 50, autographed on card in a PSA 6. This one's interesting. I don't know which one I'd take. Who knows? Who knows, really? But the Champions League one for Erling Haaland, not people's preferred. They tend to like the Bundesliga, I think, just because it has a better design, honestly. And it probably came out a little bit sooner, so I think it was more in people's minds when the whole Haaland craze was going on. The Lamine Yamal Marks of Excellence are a pretty big-time card for him. Now, granted, a PSA 6, not quite sure. But, what are you going to do? Above it, a couple Messis here and a Ronaldo. Take your pick. We have a PSA 10 Scorers Club Gold in it. Well, I already said 10 grade, but it's numbered out of 10 as well, in case that helps. That goes for 8,100 out of the Copa America Prism. We have a 2024 Reverence Black out of 10 in a PSA 1010 with Messi's autograph hidden in the foiling there. That goes for 8,400. Generally, we've seen the top Reverence do very, very well. Personally, I don't really understand it, but at the same time, seems pretty universally loved. I think it's more of a European thing. I don't know if that's because it was released over there and that's sort of why it came about this way, but they seem to be enjoying it if that's the case. 8,400 there. Feels strong when you can get on-card Messi autos for cheaper than that, but, I understand it's 10-10 grade, it's numbered. People like that stuff. PSA 3 Ronaldo rookie next to it. Pretty big sale here, 8,400. I looked at the graph, or at least I hope I did. Yeah, I don't think they have a graph of the PSA 3, so what are you going to do? Sale before this, January of this year, 4,700. Basically, I mean, it doesn't quite double it, but almost does at 8,400. Could have got this for as low as $1,200 just a couple of years ago, so, hey, hopefully you took your shot there. I know I didn't, so, I mean, what are you going to do? Back in 2022, we had about 2,500 on this was the peak. So, yeah, I mean, doing pretty good. That would have me a little nervy, but truthfully, the Mega Cracks Cristiano Ronaldo's are tough, man, compared to the Messi pops in totality. And from memory, I feel like they were a fourth of the pop total, or maybe a fifth. PSA 10s are actually, I think, double the pop of the Messi, which is why they generally sell for a lot less on top of Ronaldo versus Messi conversation, have that. But this actually, I believe, outsells Messi in this grade. Now, granted, that's because there's not as many of them, so the floor is going to be higher to get into it. Kind of makes sense. But ultimately, seemed like a pretty strong sale there. And, the corners are kind of beat. I mean, I don't think it doesn't deserve a 3 maybe, but I'm sure if you took a deeper look, maybe you could make that case. This row is also interesting in terms of what you want, because we got the manga Lamine Yamal just hanging out right in between. Not even rookie, just third-year manga, I guess, at this point, but 8.7K for that raw. Tried looking these up. I don't really think there were many sales. 2025 product just kind of coming out, not really getting graded, or if it is getting graded, it's going to be a while till we see them. Next to it, smack dab on both sides, we have a Messi green crystals from 2014 World Cup Stars and a 7.5 grade for 8,700, or a 71 bis and a PSA 5 for 9K there. Interesting to see those go so close. The green crystals having slightly more watchers, also fairly notable. Lamine Yamal with about half the watchers, but still fairly impressive for a new card of a new player. Yeah, in this row, I think it'd be interesting. Would I rather have a green crystals? I really like the green crystals. I talk about this all the time because it relates to the World Cup from that year. I wish it was numbered out of 14, so it was even more relatable to that year. But ultimately, there's a big jump from purple out of 99 to green crystal out of 25, and once you get to gold out of 10, that's going to be multiples above this. So good luck. But interesting row nonetheless. Above it, another bis here, a PSA 4 selling for more than a 5. Certainly interesting. The 5 and the 4 were graded relatively same time, maybe a year apart. So, or I guess probably a year and a half, 2 years at this point. They weren't grading $1 million a month then, but now they are. Nonetheless, interesting to see. And I would imagine people think the 4 looks better. That's just what I'm going to chalk it up to because that's what makes sense to me. Next to it, finest gold Lamine Yamal out of 50, number 1 out of 50, if you care about that. 910 grade goes for 9,600. And then a Messi Red Wave Refractor from 2020 with a 10 grade goes for 9,900. I could see people making a case for that. PSA 10 out of 5, playing days Barca. Again, to be fair, and I've talked about this before, red stuff from Topps is just generally done really well. I was kind of in it early, but I didn't really have a lot of cards. So, I've won a little bit, but I could have won a lot more. Greed, we're all greedy. We all wish we had more. It is what it is. I still own some Messi red stuff, so am I biased? Again, I own a lot of cards, so it's hard for me to say everything. And if you want to see what cards I have, check out my Instagram. I post there. Never. I think I posted 2 months ago, but I posted some Messi reds. But yeah, in the world of reds, I don't think this is crazy. Now, granted, it really matters what you think of Red Wave, because Red Wave isn't red. Red is sort of beloved and known, and Red Wave's its lesser counterpart, but they do number it lower because of that. And, they're I would imagine there's some collectability behind it, but hey, who knows? Above it, PSA 4 Maradona disc from his rookie year of 1977 goes for 9,900. This was relatively cheap compared to what I was seeing elsewhere. 19,000 was the last sale. So this was about half. Now, granted, on this vintage stuff, you always have to say, does this copy look a lot worse than this? Just from my eyes here, yeah. Does it look worse than this? Probably also, so is it one of the worst looking 4s we've seen lately? That's a little out of focus, but still, I like that one more. It's probably closer to this one in eye appeal. I guess this one's probably worse, but this one also doesn't really have notches. On these, you want to look for notches. It's actually a good thing because they were meant to be punched out, or they were punched out at the factory, and so ultimately they have notches on them. Like on this one, you see one here, you see one here, you see one here, and maybe a little something there. On the seal back here, you don't really see it. There was a spurt of these graded that were essentially deemed fake later by PSA, and I think they have paid out on some of them to get them out of circulation because PSA, that's what they do. That's why they're their most respected company. A lot of people wonder, why does PSA rule? Their grading times are awful, their services, everyone complains about them, but when they make a mistake, they own up to it, and other companies don't. And I think that's a massive factor, especially if you're spending $10K on a card like this. To be able to have that insurance is massive. And, I think this sold relatively cheap. Looks like it's got notches. Is the eye appeal the best? Probably not. I get that, but the price was relatively good. So, if you want a technical steal, you probably got it. I'm sure some people would tell you the eye appeal isn't good enough, and that's why it sold for less. And, that makes sense too. Next to it, take your pick. An orange out of 25, Lamine Yamal, and a 9, or a Michael Elise cracked ice, PSA 10. We got another prospect on the scene, boys. Lamine Yamal's got competition. Not really. Michael Elise probably has, 100th or 10th of the rookies that Lamine Yamal has. So, it's not a 1-to-1, but certainly interesting to see him get so high up here. Of course, he's having quite the season, quite the year, and, doing great things with France in the World Cup. So, yeah, I get it to some degree. I would imagine that's doing pretty well. I didn't look up comps. Sorry to the Elise guys that want me to show that. It's not like I don't want to show it. I'm sure it's doing good. I also don't comp a lot of Lamine Yamal stuff if it makes you feel any better. The prospect side of things doesn't entice me as much. I like seeing him. It's interesting to sort of make note of, but it's just so weird. Like, the Lamine Yamal people have been in the comments for a year at this point. I mean, just talking about how stupid I am all the time. Technically, probably right. I would have made more money investing in Lamine Yamal if that was my goal, is just make money, which, yeah, I mean, I don't mind some money. But Lamine Yamal, really, his greatest accolade, and I'll keep saying this, was the 2024 Euro. Like, for most prospects, when you achieve that level of accolade and you don't do anything better in 2 years, your prices dip or drastically dip. Lamine Yamal is 10x since then, which is why it's so befuddling to me and presumably others. I'd imagine other people might have the same thought. It's just crazy. But at the same time, the soccer space has grown so much. A lot of people have come into this and done really well on Lamine Yamal, so they have lots of money to spend and they like Lamine Yamal. So it kind of keeps churning itself until it doesn't, if that time occurs. And I say this because, when I came into the hobby in 2020, Mbappe and Haaland were clearly the guys. And I would say at this point, they're still kind of the guys from that generation, right? Like, post Messi and Ronaldo peak, who are the best players since then. Hard to argue Mbappe's not up there. Hard to argue Haaland isn't up there. Hard to argue Lamine Yamal isn't up there. But one of them has continued to go up, and the other two have sort of had their ups and their downs, And so that's why it's, to me, just so intriguing. And we'll add Michael Olise to this list of prospects to keep an eye on, but fun row there as well. If I had to take my pick on, I'll take the Maradona. But yeah. Above it, very interesting row. Again, take your pick. We have a Zlatan R9 Super from 2025 Chrome. We have a Xavi Iniesta Messi Red out of 5 from 2022 Chrome. And then we have a Topps Chrome Euro Berlin at night Lamine Yamal. We've seen Ronaldo's do fairly well. I think we saw Ronaldo in a 9 or a 10 grade maybe. I think it was a 9. Did a few grand, so I mean, they definitely get decent numbers. In this row, again, my cautious approach to the hobby, I'd probably take the Xavi Iniesta Messi. I think those were pretty important players. It's still Messi playing career technically, but of course he wasn't on Barca at this point. But who cares? Do people care? I don't know. So at least at this row to be, the Xavi Iniesta Messi's fun, but superfractors are kind of their own world. So I also can understand how that got here, and so is Lamine Yamal. So sort of makes sense that they're here, I guess. Above it, 2014 Pele Prism. Back in the day, silver prisms were just called Prism, and so you end up with the Prism. PSA 10 here of this out of 25 does 12.6K. In terms of comps, last sale was a bin for 7K. Yeah, 7.5 here. There was a sale of the full set for 58K. Kind of hard to parse that, but before that, 5,800, and way back in the day, 2018, 760. So if you got that, made a cool 12 grand from then. Not too shabby. If you bought it even in October of last year, you made almost double, so not too bad at all. Next to it, Color Blast Lamine Yamal. Again, I would imagine Panini Prism FIFA. I was going to say probably not a ton of it, but let's be honest, it probably is. 13.2K here for this Lamine Yamal third year case hit, which seems nuts. But people in the comments tell me I'm crazy. So, who's crazy? I don't know. It's just two crazy people arguing. Who knows who's right? 2004 Este sticker next to it, BGS 9.5. Technically, very good grade. Again, it's early grade BGS. Always have to, compare to other stickers and see if the borders seem fair enough. On these types of stickers, people do worry about waving or waviness of BGS stickers because the way they sort of encapsulate these isn't the best. So, on the bottom, it looks pretty good. On the top, it looks pretty good. All I'm doing here is just lining up the edge of the sticker with the top border of the page and seeing if it's straight. Generally looks pretty good in terms of waviness, at least compared to most stickers. So to me, that's not bad. It does have a 9 on the corners, which, if you were going to cross it, I guess technically people say that PSA is probably harsher on corners than BGS is, so keep that in mind. Crossing something like this would be a terrifying endeavor, but if you're into the big gambling and you like your odds, then, you do you. 13.8K there. We saw the PSA 8 do, 4.5, something like that. So, I mean, if this got a PSA 8, that would be a pretty big dip. Even if it got a 9, you would assume, I don't know, 10K, maybe. So, yeah, you do you. BGS 9.5, though, technically very good grade. And fun sticker as well, of course. I mean, you saw Zidane 6 do half of this price, so a 9.5 Messi. And then finally, top row, we got the Messi Color Blast throwback to, I think that's 2016 kit with Barcelona. You know, people like Color Blast too. It's not just Kabooms, it's Kabooms and Color Blast. And a raw Color Blast doing nearly PSA 10 Kaboom pricing. Interesting. Half the watchers, not even. 21K on the... Well, I tried to comp the Color Blast Messi, but it's a new product, so there was basically nothing. So we'll see where it goes from here. 2018 Kaboom Lionel Messi in a 10 for 21K. Took a look at this and, you know, generally not doing all too terrible. I mean, it did peak at 25, 26K here in April, so it's down a little bit from there. I guess technically peaked at 30K, so down 50%. Well, 33%. 30%, let's call it, since February. But of course, if you went back to, say, 2024, it was a $3.5 grand card, $4 grand card, $5 grand card, $3.5 grand. So 2.6 grand on one of those sales down here. Yeah, so it depends how you want to view it. Are you down 30% or are you up 700%? Depends on your entry, you know. So who knows? 2017 Chrome Mbappe PSA 10 out of 50, of course. His rookie card. People like the set. People like golds. People like 10s. Got a lot of things people like. This goes for 43.2 grand, which is an all-time high for this card. Look back at the comps. Last comp was 2023 for 21K. Some of these back here were actually jersey numbers as well, but I think one was like number 7, one was 10. None of them were 29, which I guess technically is the jersey number on the card, but which number would you rather have? It's a little dicier when players are still sort of making their name, but Mbappe's pretty much made his name, and what number you attribute to him, you know, I guess that's open for debate, or what number you'd want of this set is open for debate. Ultimately, doing double the price of the last sale. Pretty good. There was a sale. Do I have it? I don't. There was a PSA 9 that sold in February on Golden, I think it was, for like 20K. So compared to that, not a crazy multiple on a 10, but on stuff like this where the floor is so high, you really don't get that tripling in price from a 9 to a 10 generally. So maybe that's something that you could explain that to. Nonetheless, another just massive week like they've all been. It's been nuts. We'll look at next week, and I'd imagine, you know, some fun stuff as well. Good Lord. Leonidas here. The people have been talking about that in the Vintage Discord. Haven't plugged that yet, so do check that out. Vintage Discord down below. It's one of my favorite places to chat cards. Mostly vintage, but there's pre-modern, modern as well. So there's a little bit for everyone. PSA 10 BIS at 14K with BP and all that. Like 17K already, just not crazy. BGS 9 Messi, 71 BIS. We have a Manga Messi, a Kaboom Messi, if you like the case. It's a Topps Dynasty Messi. Cracked Ice Ronaldo, a Messi 7 in Abyss. We have a Super Fractor Messi, a 1/1 2026 Salah. They had a nice game last night, so there you go. 9.5 Messi, PSA 4 Aquarella, Gold Kabooms. It's kind of what we've been seeing lately. A lot of modern, which is just generally how it's been. But when modern's getting big prices like this, they tend to make their way to the top of the auction block a little easier. So that's certainly something. I mean, down here even, like a gold out of 50 Erling Haaland auto. It's just crazy. Just crazy stuff like it's always been. Well, I say always, like it's been for a little bit now. It wasn't always this way, but interesting nonetheless. Neymar Cracked Ice as well. That's fun stuff. All right. Well, that's it for me. Hopefully you enjoyed. As always, if you did, make sure to leave a like. I'd appreciate it greatly. Any thoughts, would love to see in a comment down below. Anything you thought sold high, low, or maybe something you snagged. And if you want some more videos like this, as soon as I go live, make sure to subscribe. But with that said, hopefully you have a wonderful day, and peace.